good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today is a great topic because we are going to talk about how to become a different version of ourselves, how to become a new person, how to create a new identity and heal our lives, right? How do we do this? So in the past, I've had videos about ways and methods that you can use to try to build a new identity, basically. So you can become and create somebody new and become something new than what you are right now. So today's exciting because today I think is the best way to do this. And it's going to sound a little different probably than you think. Because when we think about creating a new identity, we think about literally, who do we want to become? What does our life look like? We're going to have more, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to have all kinds of, maybe we're going to have a yacht, have a great big house, have amazing relationships, be totally healthy, host parties, have fun, travel the world, have a wonderful family. So we envision all these things in the future, which is great. We create the future vision for what we want, but it seems like a lot of work to get there. Am I right? How do I actually go from where I am, which is sick, have a chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic conditions, chronic anxiety or depressive or whatever it is that you are suffering from, and you're broken and you're alone and you're feeling at the bottom? How do you go from that to that? It feels like a lot of work, right? When you're already just struggling and suffering to stay alive, to survive. So we're going to talk about this today. So many of us who have experienced a chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic suffering, chronic disease, chronic anxiety, whatever it is, we maybe feel like we'll never be able to feel childlike again, right? We'll never have that sense of being a child again. We feel burdened. We feel so much weight and so much responsibility. There's so much to do. There's so much to fix. There's so much to solve. There's so much to become. And we long and we probably grieve for that childlike just freedom that we had. We wish we could, we probably feel like we will never feel that childlike freedom again. Now, maybe you had a terrible childhood and this doesn't relate to you, but even probably parts of your childhood, even if you had a terrible childhood, parts of your childhood were good, or you witnessed kids playing, dancing, singing, laughing, just running around, swimming. It's like an endless summer. That's what you think of when you think of childhood. This endless summer. You're running, you're playing, you're laughing, you're singing, you're dancing, you're eating whatever you want, you're maybe half naked running around on the beach. You're having fun, right? There's fun and spontaneity and a lightness, right? There's no weight. Here, these children are not carrying the weights that are on our shoulders right now. And so if you resonate with this, if you're feeling what I'm saying, that's ultimately who we want to become. Once again, that's what we want to create. When we have these future visions of ourselves, we're traveling, we're dancing, we're singing, we're playing, we're laughing, we're in the sun, we're in the water, we're in beautiful vacation homes, we're traveling, we're having fun, we're having adventures, we are experiencing life without any of this weight, right? The weight of money is gone. We just have it all. We have friends, we have fun, we have freedom, we have the ability to travel, we have our health, we have everything, right? In these future. And what we're really saying, in essence, what we're really saying is I want the joy of childhood back. I want that feeling of weightlessness back in my life, right? The freedom, the fun, the joy, right? The endless summer. That's what you're looking for. That is who you want to create. So how do we create this feeling back in ourselves? We realize first that child exists somewhere inside of us. That identity already exists. If you've ever felt, even for a moment, maybe a season, maybe a few weeks, maybe just a moment, but if you've ever felt that childlike sense of freedom, peace, wonder, just fun, adventure, just everything is right with the world and everything's okay, and you're okay, and you don't even have to worry about how you're getting fed or where your next meal is coming from or how you're gonna get from A to B. You're just in the moment, enjoying the moment. If you've ever had that experience, then that identity, that person, that child is still alive inside you. And this is what we're trying to create. And we don't actually need to do all that work that we think we need to do to get from here to B, right? From A to B, from where we are very, very low to this amazing identity that we envision for ourselves. It doesn't have to be that much work. The child already lives. It's already there, right? We've just buried it with fear and responsibility and too much work and too many expectations and fear of getting it wrong and judgment and people pleasing and needing to be better than we are and needing to get approval, right? So in essence, we've taken this child who, have you ever seen children? I mean, I watch my children, and when they feel angry, they scream. When they feel sad, they cry. When they feel joy, they laugh and dance and play and be silly. And they're not, they just are. And in life, as we've, gone through the experiences that we've gone through, we've added more chains, more weights, more expectations. We've taken away that freedom. We've killed that child and suffocated that child slowly. Right? We've held in the fear. We've held in the screams. We've had to live up to society's, version and vision of what a good person looks like in this world. We don't just cry or throw a tantrum the way a child does. And we don't just shirk our responsibility and run off and play all day, right? We don't make food in the kitchen and leave it for somebody else to clean up. Now, I'm not saying that we can live like a child forever. At some point, you have to take responsibility for your own life, right? Children have this freedom because they know that the responsibility is not in their hands. It's in the hands of their parents to feed them and to pay the bills and to clothe them and to get them from point A to B and get them dressed and put them to bed. And the child just has to show up and be. And just be in the experience of that day and enjoy it to the best of their abilities, or feel their feelings to the best of their abilities in that day. And that's not what we do. So we long to be that way again, because we know it's possible. We felt it, we've been through it, we experienced it at one point in our life. And now so much has happened. So many unexpected things, so many scary things, so many painful things, sad things, frightening things, so many difficult things, so much more bigger. The weights are so much more bigger than we can handle. And we've had to experience these things and feel these things, and suddenly it's changed us. And we can no longer feel that child anymore. And that child wants to come out. That child wants to be here. Right? We need to feel all the hurt of that child, all the pain, all the sadness, all the grief that we've stuffed down for all these years. But we also need to be able to experience all the joy of that child, the love that that child has to give, the carefree, just adventurous person that's inside you, the one that just goes for it without thinking, the one that doesn't have so much weight on them, so many responsibilities, such a long to-do list. The person who's just in the moment and who appreciates life for what it is and experiences life in this moment, right? Squeezes joy. I mean, sometimes I feel heartbroken that it's hard to feel that kind of joy that I was born with, that we were all born with. It's innate in all of us. And we've created these versions of ourselves that are not the real us. And so it's not as complicated as it sounds to become this amazing version of ourselves, because it's just taking away everything that shouldn't have been there, right? We don't have to try to become this version of ourselves. We just have to allow ourselves to be. We just have to take away everything that's getting in the way of us from being that person, that child, connecting to that moment, to that experience, feeling, appreciating, loving, having fun, right? In the moment, being in the moment. We have to just take away everything in this life over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years it has been, that you've allowed yourself to change and be molded into something that you are not, right? So we want to stop being what we're not and just allow the child to be what it is. If it feels like crying, then cry. If it feels like screaming, then scream. If it feels like lying down, sit down. If it feels like not doing the dishes, don't do them. Now, I'm not saying we can live our life as children forever. There is a certain amount of responsibility that it takes to get through this world that thankfully children don't have. They have that period of innocence. But right now, if you can't even imagine what it feels like to feel that child again, to have that child, that joy, that child joy, you probably just can't imagine giggling in a corner like you did with your friend and just laughing at nothing for hours. If you can't even imagine what that feels like, then you've gone too far away from who you are. And so it's just like when Michelangelo painted the angel, right? Or sculpted the angel, or sculpted the David, or sculpted something in the rocks, right? It's just like that. When they say, you know, I didn't create this, I just chipped away everything that wasn't there. So that's what we need to do. We need to just chip away everything that isn't us. How do we get closer to who we are? That's how we create the future version of ourselves. It's not by all these big grand gestures, right? It's not by moving and jumping in and taking the plunge and getting a new job and buying this house and joining a new group and getting a new hobby. And while all of that does, it's the attitude on which we do these things that really changes us and makes us. It's like when we join a new group, we let go of something old in order to do that, right? We let go of something on our to-do list that was weighing us down. That's why it changes us, not because we're doing these grand things, right? Like if we move, it's not the moving itself that heals us. It's the letting go of the old relationships or the old things on our to-do list that don't matter anymore, right? So we've actually let go of responsibility or burdens in some way when we make these grand changes. And we've done something closer that aligns to ourselves. But we have to remember it's not the actual thing that we do that's changing us or creating this new identity. That's not really what's creating the new identity. It's just letting go of the old and making room for something new that feels closer to who we are, that feels closer to joy, that feels closer to love, that feels closer to peace, that feels closer to the child within us who wants to live, to our soul, right? So it's basically chipping away everything that isn't our true soul, our true essence. And when we do start to create or make new choices for our life and start to move in different directions, that's amazing. That's awesome. But we do it to get closer to who we truly are, to our true essence, to our soul. So making a huge change in your life, going from being an accountant to being a scientist, if that's not in your true heart, that's not going to do anything for you, right? But if you go from being an accountant to a teacher, which maybe is something that aligns closely with your soul, or to being an artist, or to creating something, or to being a writer, or to working with animals, or whatever calls to you. If it calls to you a little more to your soul, then that's something that you're creating that's closer to your soul, that's closer to the true essence of you, to that child within. And then we let the other thing fall away. We let the accountant job fall away. So it's not a matter of creating just change for the sake of change. It's a matter of just dropping everything that doesn't align with the child inside us who wants to come out to play, who wants to come out to feel, who wants to come out to cry, who wants to come out to scream, right? Who wants to come out to giggle and laugh and feel and experience. Hello. And experience life as we are right here, right now. And that's what children do. That is the child within you. We want you to basically create a future identity that's just getting back to being yourself, to being your own child, right? And so we start, it's so easy. We start by just cutting out the things that feel heavy, that feel wrong, that feel like too much. If it feels like too much, let it go. Find something new, right? But you say, but I have to pay my bills, but I have to do this, but if it feels like too much, it's your soul telling you it's not right for you. It's too much for you. So go find something that isn't too much for you. Something that feels better, right? So there's always a reason not to. There's always a reason to stay where we are. But when we're trying to create our future identity, when we're trying to create a new identity of ourselves, what we're really saying is that we want to create our true souls. We want to create ourselves only better, only with less responsibility, with less weight, with less sadness, with less grief, with less pain, right? We just want to be us, only without the stuff that hurts, without the stuff that's weighing us down and keeping us stuck. We just want to feel free to express who we are and to have that, to feel that joy in the expression of ourselves. So the next time you go to make a choice, like, I'm going to overhaul this, think about why. Is that really getting you closer to who you are? To your child? To your soul? If it aligns with your soul, then go for it. Say, yes, I'm going to overhaul my diet and eat this way because this aligns to me, this calls to me. But not just because somebody else said so, right? Or I'm going to, start running marathons. Great. If you love to run, if that fulfills you, if that calls to you, but not if you hate every second of it. It's not going to heal you. That's not going to change your identity. It's not going to get you closer to who you are as a person. I'm going to take up yoga. Great, if that calls to you. If you love to do yoga, if you find the beauty in it. But if you're just sitting there hating every second of it, then that's not what you're being called to do. Listen to who you are. Remember who you are. All you have to do is remember who you are inside, who that child is, what that soul who came to this earth, right? To be, to feel, to experience. And we just have to remove everything that's in its way. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video because it is one of the best ways to create a new identity for yourself, is to just get closer to who you truly, truly are.